Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Derek Stephenson, and I'm with the franchise support team at EXIT Realty Corp International. And I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join me today to review the new features of the Resource Center. I'm sure by now everyone's had a chance to sign into the Resource Center, and we can all agree that the new and improved RC 2.0 has been a fantastic upgrade. It's easier to navigate, we have a dedicated marketing section, the user dashboard, action items, and so much more. Before we begin and dive in, I do want to highlight or mention that Franchise Support also conducts training sessions on a monthly basis of the Resource Center. We actually happen to have a couple different sessions. We have some sessions geared towards the sales associate, and then some sessions geared towards management roles, which would consist of the franchisee, the broker of record, and office administrator. So if after today's session you still have questions or you're interested in a refresher, by all means, feel free to reach out to Franchise Support. We'll be able to answer your question or even get you scheduled for the appropriate Resource Center training session and send you the call details or the Zoom link. All right, let's begin. We have so much to talk about. I'm excited to share the new information with everyone. I'm currently signed into Sharon Richardson's profile here, our VP of Broker Services. Just going to use it simply as a test account. And again, we'll go ahead and highlight the new features of our Resource Center 2.0. One of the biggest changes you'll probably see is the homepage. It's completely different. It's received a complete facelift, and I think the development team deserves a round of applause. It looks phenomenal. Now on the homepage, obviously we have our activity snapshot. As we scroll down, we have our recent leads, sponsor activity. Across the top, we still have our toolbar, and then up in the top right-hand corner, we have a little drop-down menu. So that's kind of the path I'm going to take today. We're going to talk a little bit about the home page, and then we'll navigate up to the top left, and then we'll move over to the top right. All right, let's begin. So once we first sign in, again, it's still going to have our name. One of the things you'll notice is that we have our notifications here as well, so we can simply dismiss them or view all of our notifications. And keep in mind that some of the changes with the Resource Center is to mirror our EXIT Realty Connect app. We've also updated the EXIT Realty Connect app. It's also received a facelift, so be sure to check it out. But it's just to really merge the two together so that all the features that are available in the Resource Center, most of them are also going to be available in the app and vice versa. So again, you do have your notifications at the top there. You'll see that we also happen to have a little what's new with Exit that we can scroll through. It's going to continue to rotate on a little carousel for us, but we can always go ahead and navigate through other articles or videos as well. As I mentioned, we have our activity snapshot. Now, one thing I will mention is that it's going to look a little different for sales associates versus franchisees or brokers. I say that because right underneath the office, so not only can you navigate or choose multiple offices if you happen to have roles in multiple offices, but directly below that drop down, there's going to be two little radio bullets for franchisees and brokers. And that is to allow you to toggle or navigate between your own personal production or the office's information. So you can take a look at the office's production on a whole, for example, listings, or you can simply move the radio bullet over and just view your own listings. How great is that? So definitely an updated feature there. Now this information is going to be updated on a nightly basis within 24 hours, but it's also going to give you an average based off of the last 30 days. So you'll notice that when you sign into the Resource Center underneath your own profile, that these little options or these gray boxes are actually going to change. Some could be green, some could be red, some are going to be gray if there's not a huge change involved, things along those lines. So keep in mind that that information is going to change and it's based off of an average over the last 30 days. Now this information for the listings is also pulled directly from the MLS. So any administrators or franchisees that are on the line, it's not going to directly mirror Memo, because remember with Memo we have to resolve duplicates, and if your office is on both sides, or if you have an agent, multiple agents I should say, representing one side of the transaction, that particular transaction appears a number of times in Memo. So this is going to be a reflection of the MLS. Remember, we have that IDX feed set up so that properties feed in from the MLS into Memo, the Resource Center, as well as the public website. So that's where that's all being pulled from. We have your agent sponsored. Again, if you happen to have any new sponsored associates, if you've recruited anyone, whether or not your profile has been updated or complete, and I'll get to that in just a few minutes. your quick leads. Again, we knew that we had quick leads in the EXIT Realty Connect app, but never before in the Resource Center. So definitely a new and improved feature here. Whether it's our quick leads, you can send your mobile business card and also your My Smart Sign vanity code. Last but not least, you have your presentations that were created. So again, those would be those digital presentations. Now I can click on to open, send quick lead, view, any of those options, and it's going to take me to that area or that section of the Resource Center. For example, if I happen to recruit, let's say, 5 new agents and I clicked onto view, you're going to notice that the home page scrolls down and I'm now in my sponsor activity section. So again, I can either click onto view or simply scroll down on the home page. Just like the old or the original Resource Center, we always wanted to have number of ways or multiple ways to be able to navigate through the Resource Center. Not everyone is going to prefer the toolbar across the top. Not everyone's going to want to use these activity snapshots. They'd rather go directly to, let's say, a production report, things like that. So everyone has their own way of navigating through the Resource Center and what they're comfortable with. So we made sure anyways, we stuck with that platform or that routine. Again, we're going to deliver the information, and then however you're comfortable accessing it, you're welcome to go ahead and navigate through the Resource Center. Also over on the right-hand side, one of the new things we have would be action items, kind of like a to-do, if you will. But action items are actually created by corporate. You can see that you can add your own action item as well. And you can either dismiss that action item, you can snooze it, or you can even skip it. So if you're going to mark something as complete, as in you've already reviewed that task, so if you need to update your profile, whether it be your photo or your bio, if you needed to add in social media links, you can always go ahead and mark that task complete. Snoozing it essentially is going to snooze it, just like your alarm clock. It's going to snooze it to the end of the list if you happen to have multiple action items. And then you also happen to have an option to skip an action item. Skipping an action item is similar to marking it as complete, but you're not actually fulfilling that task. You're essentially just skipping it because you're not interested in completing that task, essentially. So those would be our action items. Below our action items, you can see that we have our continuing education still. And again, it's going to work on a carousel, or we can use the arrows to navigate through. And last but not least, we have your feedback. We're always interested to hear from the field, especially when we launch a new product like this. So if you're interested in giving us your feedback, by all means, go ahead and send away. And the development team, I can guarantee you, will review those suggestions or any feedback that you may have, and we'll see what we can do for future releases and requests. So that is our homepage. Again, definitely a huge facelift, looks phenomenal, and a lot more interactive and engagement on the associate side. Across the top, we have properties, people, marketing, training, and resources. Now you'll notice that as I hold my cursor over every one of the categories, another drop-down menu appears. So one of the things I would recommend when navigating or even experimenting with the new Resource Center is always hold your cursor over one of the main categories first in the top toolbar before selecting anything. What I mean by that is right now I could actually click onto the word properties and it's going to take me to a list of my properties, my listings, if I was a sales associate. If I was signed in as a franchisee, a broker, or an administrator, it's going to take me to the office's listings, everyone's listings. So it's important that actually you hold your cursor over that option or title and category before selecting anything else, because you never know. You may actually want to go directly to the Expert Marketing Suite rather than clicking onto properties first. So here, when we hold our cursor over properties, we can click directly into properties still. We can access the Expert Marketing Suite. You have Dotloop being my paperless solution, the famous or infamous Exit Ad Center, and Promo Shop. Again, keep in mind the Resource Center is still permission-based, so depending on your role will determine what you have access to. So that part of it will remain the same. Under People, we happen to have contacts, send a quick lead, any lead activity, importing your contact or your data. You have Promo Shop again, and then send mobile business card and My Smart Sign. So contacts is the same. We've always had contacts in the Resource Center, But how cool is it that we can now send a quick lead directly from the resource center? This has always been a feature available in the app, but now we've allowed the resource center, we've mirrored the resource center with the EXIT Realty Connect app. Fantastic. So again, with our quick leads, we can send our mobile business card, we can send the smart sign, we can send a quick lead when it comes to our potential seller, buyer, recruit, and we can even send the EXIT Realty Connect app. Now, one of the things I also want to highlight is that when you're underneath your potential seller or potential buyer or even a recruit, depending on your type of lead, the information down here would change, so your message. So if we have a potential client, you'll see here that it automatically populates a message for us. I could go ahead and click into this field and I could delete that message and put something completely separate. Or if I select a current client, again, you'll see that it's constantly changing depending on the type of lead that I have. Alrighty. Also in the bottom left, we have our digital marketing strategy. So we could go ahead and include a link to that digital marketing strategy so the potential seller would see that information as well. Great, right? Absolutely. Same goes for our potential buyer, again, depending on the lead. And then also, of course, one of the things that sets us aside with our third income stream, our potential recruit. So if you happen to know someone who's in the real estate industry and you're obviously looking to sponsor them into exit, you can definitely send them a quick lead here directly through the resource center as well. So that's one of the new features with the quick leads. Back underneath people, you can see that we have import data as well. So we can actually now import our contacts from another contact manager. In the past, it was only something that we could actually export from the app. So now again, with the new launch of the resource center, or the facelift, if you will, we actually have the ability to import our contacts. Now, just like every other contact manager, you have to have a certain way or a certain format that the contacts have to be in. So we definitely have the ability to review the file, whether it's going to be the first name, first name, last name, phone number, email address, and so on. So there's certain categories that must be populated in a certain order, but that's just like most programs where you're able to import your contacts. You have the ability to import that CSV file, and again, the contacts would be automatically uploaded to the resource center for you. Back underneath people, we have promo shop again, and then again, send business card and smart sign. Now, that's just like the quick leads that we already highlighted there, but one of the things I do want to mention, anytime you have or see the word send, it means that you're physically going to be sending something such as the mobile business card or the smart sign. I mention that because in the top right-hand corner that we're going to get to in just a few minutes, it simply just says my mobile business card and my smart sign. So that's actually where you're going to modify or even initially set up and request a vanity code. Whereas underneath people, remember, it says send. So that means that you've already done the work ahead of time and now you're just looking to send it to someone. So keep that in mind as well. Anytime you see the word send, you're actually sending them something, not necessarily modifying your mobile business card. All right, now one of the biggest changes and one of the things that we're very excited about is going to be the marketing center here. So I'm actually going to click onto it first because it looks phenomenal. I think everyone will agree that the marketing center is brand new, and you'll see at a quick glance it kind of has everything that we need as far as marketing goes right at our fingertips. We have our presentations, you have videos for social. As I scroll down, you see that you have digital and print. You can access our logos and our standards, continuing education here in the bottom right, and of course the one and only Annette Anthony's tips. Now, you'll see as I scroll through, or would have saw as I was scrolling through, that you can also open these sections up to a bigger bigger area of the resource center, I should say. So not only can we just click on to create a new presentation, you can actually view your current presentations and see all your presentations, not just one or two of them. One of the things I will mention or highlight as well for the digital and the print is that some pieces are going to be consumer-based and some are going to be associate-based. So definitely take the time to review the content before posting anything or generating any type of advertising, whether it's in print or on social, so that it's going to be the correct information and exactly what you're looking for. So for example, anything to do with an ad, a Facebook ad or a Google ad, is going to be for you as an associate. As we scroll through, though, you'll see that we have the buying your home chart. Then we also happen to have the trifold. So these would actually be consumer based, whereas anything to do with a Facebook or a Google ad would be associate based. So just keep that in mind as well. But again, the marketing center is phenomenal. And again, if I hold my cursor over marketing, I can actually dive down into a smaller section, if you will, of the marketing center. What I mean by that is, rather than opening up everything, I can go directly into logos and standards if I wanted to, and I'm only going to see logos and our standards. One of the great things about our logos and our standards, and this is not even a new feature, I just wanted to highlight it because it comes in handy, especially if we're using a supplier, a local supplier that's not an exit approved supplier. Here we have a couple different charts. So if you're looking to do a project, you can click onto that project and it'll show you exactly the type of logo you want for the type of project you're working on. So if you're doing ads, banners, billboards, anything you can think of, it'll show you the type of ad that, or type of logo, sorry, that you're needing to accomplish that project. Same thing goes for your software type. So again, it'll load up automatically here for us. You can see if it's Microsoft programs, web programs, Adobe. So the graphics team here at corporate has actually done the work for us. We don't even have to necessarily worry about hemming and hawing or choosing which type of logo or file we need. We already have it available at our fingertips. So again, pat on the back to our graphics team as well. So as I scroll through, again, you can see that you have your black and white, your colored photos, and so on. So this is just kind of a new and improved or a facelift as well. But when all else fails, if you're not sure where you want to go to when it comes to marketing, just click onto the new marketing center and everything will be at your fingertips. You'll notice that as we scroll through as well, we have little play buttons. So anything that's fairly new, we've actually created a little demo or a video to highlight that particular area or page as well. So you simply click onto the video. I won't play it, but you'll see that we can click onto it. It's not very long. They're typically anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes long, not even. And I'll just give you a highlight of what's all going to be highlighted or available on that particular page or particular section of the new resource center. Underneath our marketing, it's also where you're able to access your presentations, those digital presentations. Remember, we still have access to the websites. I can tell you from personal experience that for days I've signed into the resource center and I've selected the drop down menu to try to access the website dashboard, but it's actually underneath marketing now. So you just simply click onto websites to launch your website dashboard. And then again, we still have our education. So any recordings and things along those lines. Next, we have training. So I'm going to click directly onto training as well. And as we're waiting for it to load, you'll see that as I hold my cursor over training, again, I can actually navigate through different areas of the training tab as well. So we still have our mindset training, you have your eBoss training, any training webinars, your Exits Aspire coaching, and of course our training calendar. At the beginning of the call, I had mentioned that you're always able to take a look at the calendar in the Resource Center to see when the Resource Center training is held. So this is the calendar that I'm referring to. You can use View here, or at the top in the toolbar, again, hold your cursor over Resources and select Calendar. So back to our training tab for right now. Again, if I hold my cursor over training, you can see that it launches all the different trainings. We have our e-manuals. So for sales associates out there, this is where you're going to be able to access that agent success plan, whether you're a new agent or an experienced agent. If we have any brokers or franchisees on the line, that's where you're going to access your broker success plan, as well as your transition guide for both US and Canada, things along those lines. Underneath our drop-down menu for training, we also happen to have our podcast, so Bob McKinnon's podcast, a link to our Exit International Convention, which is coming up. It's crazy to believe that we're just, less than 2 weeks to the big day. And then, of course, our support source. So our support source is actually geared towards the management roles or administrative roles within the brokerage. Again, this is not something that's necessarily new, but I do want to highlight it because I'm not sure how many people are aware that it's available here in the Resource Center. We wanted a special area for the administrative staff to be able to go to access documents, training modules, any mandatory forms that corporate requires when things change within the brokerage. So it's just a special area for administrators to go. Now, all this information is also available throughout the Resource Center, but again, it's more of a centralized location for administrative staff to go to be able to grab documents and just help them run the brokerage on a day-to-day experience, situation, if you will. So it's just going to allow them to, or save them time essentially from searching the Resource Center for things they may need, material they may need. Then, of course, over on the right-hand side, we have Meet the Team. So there's myself, Chantel, Lisa, and Nick. All right, so that's our training tab. Underneath Resources, so the Resource tab, I don't want to say that it has actually replaced Exitize Me, but a lot of the information that was underneath that Exitize Me tab with the old Resource Center is now available underneath Resources. So this is where we go to access our documents, and keep in mind that documents is going to be our corporate documents. It's automatically going to default to corporate documents. It doesn't mean that offices can't upload their own documents and still share them with their associates, or even have regions upload documents and share them with the offices. That's still an option, but it will always default to the corporate documents first, and then you're able to go ahead and use these filters across the top here to change out what it is that you're looking for. One of my favorite parts of the new document section is that we can favorite a document. So in franchise support, I know we're constantly in and out of the document section on a daily basis, and you can actually favorite a document. And when we do that, then you can also just list or show your favorites only. And it just helps make things a lot easier when you're trying to look for a particular document. So any documents that you use on a regular basis, it's not a bad idea to come in here and favorite them. And then you don't have to necessarily worry about using the search field all the time. You can just simply show your favorites, and there's probably just going to be a handful or two, and you'll be able to see them a lot easier. Also under resources, we also happen to have our top resources. So top resources based off your role again. So whether you're an associate or a franchisee or a broker. The calendar that we've already highlighted. Memo, if you're an administrator, we know that in the past you always used to click the drop-down menu to access Memo, this top right-hand corner drop-down menu. Now it's under resources. Again, another way to access our logos and our standards. Our contact list, that's actually the contact list for offices. So if you're interested in pulling up either a Canadian, US, or regional office, you simply click onto contact list and choose the appropriate tab. You have a supplier here for health coverage, Exit TV, which would be our YouTube channel, Canada Post for any offices in Canada, and then quick links. So quick links is going to be essentially links that we've added in here. They're added by corporate, and you can see here that we have your accelerated farming, annual membership information, convention photos, and then some suppliers as well. So anything that we wanted to be able to access quickly under our quick links, we've gone ahead and added here. Again, this information is not new, it's just been carried over and has a little bit of a new feel or look to it. Also under resources, of course, we have our approved suppliers still. We have our marketplace, so those two kind of go hand in hand. Our Spirit of Exit, of course, we have our dollar for dollar matching charity program. And last but not least, we have Exit Overnight Express. So our Overnight Express is essentially going to highlight changes that are coming, that were recently made, I should say, or even coming down the pipeline. So we've come up with this name, and it's essentially while you were offline, anything that may have happened, whether it was overnight, over a long weekend, anything like that. We have the Overnight Express, and again, it'll highlight any changes that were recently made or that will be upcoming. So again, you can see here that we have the Resource Center, we have the EXIT Realty Connect app, and even the Smart Sign. So some of the new features that we've recently released. All right, so back on our home page here. So that takes care of our home page and of course the toolbar across the top. Now up in the top right-hand corner, we happen to have notifications. Again, we're piggybacking off the app so that you not only have notifications in your EXIT Realty Connect app, but also in the Resource Center. Remember that to access these notifications, you actually have to sign directly into the Resource Center to see them or into your app. It's not necessarily going to send you a text message to say you have a notification. When you sign in, that's when you see your notification, identification, or number up at the top there, which in this case is that 25. One of the cool features I like as well with the new Resource Center is this chat feature. Now, not to be confused with live support, but this chat feature allows us to chat with other associates within our brokerage. How cool is that? So as a new associate, I could always go ahead and chat with another agent, or if I happen to be a team member and I wanted to go ahead and set up a group chat for all my team members. If I was the broker franchisee and I wanted to go ahead and put on some sort of charity event, and maybe by now with that charity event you know who in your office is going to be participating, so now you're going to set up a little chat for them, anything along those lines. So when you first click onto that chat bubble, you'll see that you have your current chats, or your open chats automatically populate for us, or we can simply go ahead and click onto start new chat. Now again, we're just dealing with some fictional information here, but when you click onto start new chat, you can click onto the associate's name. We'll click onto Kinley. You could type out a test message for him, send it, and then again, he would receive that notification or that message when he signs into the app or into the Resource Center. Now back onto the start new chat, I mentioned that you could also go ahead and create a group chat. So if that's the case, I would have to create the group first, check off the associate's name. So remember, if we want to do one-on-one interaction, we actually just click onto the associate's name. If we're doing a group, we have to create the group first and then check off the boxes over on the right-hand side and add those associates to that group. Alrighty. Again, once that group is set up, then they'll automatically appear here in your current active chats. So great new tool there. We have our search field, our search icon. It's pretty much the same as well. It's going to do a global search for us. I say global as in that it's going to search everything in the Resource Center. So it's not going to search just the home page that we're on. It's going to also search your marketing center. It's going to search the resource area and so on. We happen to have your action items. So again, we can access action items up at the top or simply add item down below. And of course, still live support. So live support is going to get you in contact with the franchise support team. So this is a learning curve for us as well here in franchise support. For a very long time, we've often referred to live support as chat. If we're speaking with someone, we'll say, oh, there goes chat. I got to answer the chat, or anything along those lines. So there is definitely a difference now, though, between chat. So chat is chatting or sending messages within the brokerage to other associates, whereas our live support is going to connect you with our franchise support team. So again, a learning curve for us there. So we have to stop using the word chat and simply use live support. Last but not least is our drop-down menu in the top right-hand corner. One of the biggest changes you'll see here is going to be our public profile versus our personal profile. They're completely separate now, and I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You have a public profile, meaning that it's public. It's published to the public website so that the public can see it. That's going to contain your photo, your bio, and even social media links. So it has a new look to it, though. It's great to see that you see on the left-hand side we have only 3 steps. So first step is to upload your photo. When you do, you can see that there's examples down the bottom here on how it's going to look. And one of the best features with this new the public profile, is the cropping feature. If your image is too large, if it's sideways, upside down, whatever it happens to be, we can go ahead and switch that around directly in the Resource Center versus having to, say, save it in another program, make the changes, resave it, and then upload it. We can do all those changes directly from the Resource Center now using these icons across the top. Step 2 is our bio. So again, you can simply go ahead and add in your bio. I will remind everyone that it doesn't have spell check, so make sure you're typing out your bio in an email or a Word document first, have another set of eyes review it, and then simply go ahead and add it here to the public profile. We do realize it's not easy writing about ourselves. We totally understand that, so we do have a little tip sheet here as well on how to write an effective bio. Last but not least, our social media links. So if you happen to be an administrator or a franchisee, you have the ability to upload social media information or links for the office as well as yourself personally. So make sure you have the correct option in the drop-down menu there. But you have your Facebook, your LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, ActiveRain, and YouTube. Again, you don't have to have all of them by any means. If you have them, by all means, feel free to enter them in. But please make sure you're using the test feature on the right-hand side, making sure you're testing it so that it's going to go to the correct page. And when you save those links, I still encourage everyone to go to the public website, exitrealty.com, and conduct an agent search on yourself. Go to the Office Agent Finder, type out your first and last name, and test everything on the public site. Make sure your photo is not upside down or sideways. Make sure the links to your social media pages are working successfully or correctly. Things like that. You never want to stumble across the public site and not have valid or up-to-date information. So that is our public profile. The other change here is our personal profile. So your personal profile is personal information, confidential information. So this is where you're going to be able to update your beneficiary information, if you're able to update your emergency contact information. Even if you happen to move yourself and need to provide corporate with your new address, or you have a new email address or new mobile number, all those changes can be made here underneath your personal profile. Now, we also have the option where administrators can assist associates in updating their public profile. So you'll see here it says, would you like administrators from your brokerage to be able to edit your profile? So this, I'm speaking mainly towards new associates that you may not be aware of this, but you could actually allow administrators within your brokerage to give you a hand with your public profile. They can't come in and change your personal information, so they can't come in and change their beneficiary and list themselves as their beneficiary. It's simply going to be for the public profile so that they can give you a hand in uploading a new photo, a bio, or even adding your social media links if you're looking for a little hand in that. Alrighty, so that's going to be your personal profile. We still have your mobile business card and My Smart Sign. Again, a whole new look here with your mobile business card. And one of the neat things is we can actually toggle back and forth. Not only do we need to use this drop-down menu, or can we use the drop-down menu, I should say, we can also select My Smart Sign and go back to the business card. So I'll highlight that in just a second for us. So first up, we need to select a text code. You have your reply message, design, title, and display. So this hasn't really changed. Again, just a different look. So you still have your text code, so reach Sharon. Your auto reply message, what clients are going to see on their side, design, whether it's going to be gray or a teal background, the office or title that you would like linked to your business card, so the one that's going to appear underneath your name, in this case sales representative, and then also display. So how many tabs essentially you want to appear here, whether or not you want to remove any of those. If you're interested in removing some, we can remove the About Me section. You can remove the My Site, so your website, a link to your listings, and also the Smart Sign vanity code. So those are your options there. I highly recommend that you at least leave the Display My Smart Sign. I personally think everyone should have that on there because it's going to link your Smart Sign with your mobile business card, and that allows potential clients or prospects to toggle back and forth between the two. I'll show you what I mean. If I click onto this link here, it's going to launch Sharon's mobile business card. And at the top here, it says view properties near me, and I can click on to go, and that's going to essentially highlight or pull up listings in my area. If I go back to Sharon's business card and I remove that Display My Smart Sign box and I click on to save, this option is no longer going to appear at the top where it says view properties near me. It's no longer going to appear there. So that's what I meant by that they're actually connected if we leave that box checked off. So again, I definitely highly recommend that. You'll see here on the right-hand side, obviously we clicked onto the link to view the mobile business card, but you can also use the QR code as well and send it directly from this section of the Resource Center. So also underneath My Smart Sign, we can quickly switch here. And we only have 3 options here. Again, you create your custom text code, enter it in, save it, have your auto reply, and then also a fallback search section. So the only change here with the new Resource Center is that fallback search location. What this allows is that we can change, or we can drag and drop this bullet around, and as we do that, our longitude and latitude will automatically change. But this allows us to set a location so that if for whatever reason, the user, the client on the other end of the mobile device, perhaps they don't have any type of reception, or maybe they're in a rural area and they can't get service, there's always going to be a fallback location so that no matter what, there's going to be a property that appears on their device and have a link to your mobile business card. So if all else fails, even if it's not the property that they're interested in, they'll at least have your contact information right in the palm of your hands. So a great tool to make sure that that is up to date. Whether you want to use the fallback location to the area that is closest to your brokerage, to the area that you farm, totally up to you, and you can go ahead and change that up. But if you do move the location, please just make sure that you click on to update location. Also in the top right-hand corner in our drop-down menu, we still have your regular pay membership fees. One of the changes here will be My Reports. In the past, there used to be a reports button on the home page. Now it's strictly available in the drop-down menu in the top right-hand corner there. This report section is strictly geared towards sales associates. As sales associates, this is where you're able to take a look at your own production, so your own listings and deals. If you have any recruits, you can take a look at or run a recruit report to see who's still active under you. You can review your recruits' production as well, so their listings as well as their deals. So this allows the sponsor to be able to check in with their agents from time to time, their recruits, to see how things are going. Obviously, it's in their best interest to actually sponsor, mentor that associate and give them some guidance. And so they can take a look at their production as well. They can also take a look at the residual earnings report. So they can run a report on all residual income that they've received. If they want to enter a date range, they can, annually, quarterly, monthly, you name it. They can take a look at their award history, tax forms. So we have 1099s for US associates, T4As for our Canadians. And I say that because EXIT Realty Corp International, remember, is actually responsible for sending out the residual, and therefore we are responsible for generating those tax forms. The brokerage, your local brokerage, will still be responsible for creating your 1099 or your T4A, for your commission. But again, corporate's responsible for any type of residual income. This also goes for administrators. Anyone who may not know, we do pay out an administrative bonus as well. And so the 1099 is listed underneath tax forms for administrators as well. Last but not least, the report card. And remember, all this information underneath the report section is still fed from Memo. That part has not changed at all. So this allows associates to come in and take a look to see how they're doing as far as production goes. It also lets the associates know when the administrators or the franchisee or broker is entering that production into Memo. We always encourage and highly recommend to all training or all franchisees and brokers and administrators during training, I should say, that Memo be kept up to date at all times. Memo should be a mirror image of what's happening in real life. And that way associates can always track the production to the resource center as well. And one of those things would be this report card. It'll list what side they've represented on a transaction, whether it's the selling side or the buying side, the gross commission that they've earned in a particular month, because it is for the full calendar year, January to December. It's going to also highlight if they have any new listings, if they had any listings in kind of that were still active. They never went under contract and they never expired. So they're already kind of in their pool of active listings. And then of course, list anyone if the associate happen to sponsor anyone into the EXIT system. So all that's available on the report card, as well as agent ranking and all that good stuff. So again, this really hasn't changed any. And again, it's still going to be fed by Memo. It's just the location of the report card or all the production reports is now only in the drop-down menu versus the home page. We also happen to have settings and preferences. So this hasn't changed at all, but just as a reminder for everyone, this is where you would go to set up or add in your agent MLS ID number if you're an associate. This is where you would go to request an IDX feed for the office if you're a franchisee or broker. You would connect with your third-party providers. You can see that we have Zillow, Dotloop, the Exit Offers, Wise Agent, and so on. So all that's available underneath our settings and preferences. And then last but not least, change password. So keep in mind, if we do change our password, it's going to change it for the EXIT Realty Connect app as well. All right, they go hand in hand. I'm going to go ahead and click back into our home page. And I want to thank everyone really for joining us today. I'm sure there's going to be some questions, so by all means feel free to type out your questions. We'll make sure that we get back to you as soon as possible on those questions. And as always, if you do have any questions or you're interested in signing up for a refresher, feel free to reach out to the franchise support team. We also happen to have a mobile business card, so feel free to text support, the word support, to 85377, and you'll have all of our contact information, including a link to live chat, right in the palm of your hands. Thanks for joining, everyone. It's been great chatting about the new features of our new resource center. I hope you have learned something or taken something away from today's session. But again, if you do have any questions after the fact, by all means, feel free to reach out to franchise support. Take care. Bye for now.